It was just me and a couple cameras, and mainly at that gym. And I would just try to find little ways to maybe use different angles so the videos didn't get too...
One thing that's interesting is we talk about batch producing in one day, but you did it over a course of 30 days. What was your recording session like? Did you have someone helping you film? Did you have one format, multiple formats? What was the production like?
Yeah, so for the most part, things were pretty consistent on the production side of things. Basically, it's just me. I would go to the gym. Usually I'd run with two cameras. I just set them up at separate angles so I can kind of switch between the angles and, kind of keep things visually interesting. And then I would do B-roll after. So I just set those up on tripods. Basically, everything I did by myself, except for if I have maybe my wife help me, she would play defense or hold the camera or whatever. Yeah, she's been great that way. And yeah, basically it was just me and a couple cameras, and mainly at that gym. I really didn't do too much outside of that gym, and I would just try to find little ways to maybe use different angles so the videos didn't get too formatted and stale, because if people see the same exact looking content over 3 years, I'm sure they might get bored. So I had to kind of keep that in mind.
Totally. Yeah. Sean and I, we've never done anything as extreme as you, but we definitely would do things like angle changes, but outfit changes, right? But normally when we're like recording, we have like, it's kind of the same look, but different color shirts. Do you do something like that too, in addition to like changing up the angles? Because it's interesting, because sometimes I don't feel like it's as important, but over the course of a year, it's probably good to mix it up. What were some other things that you considered doing?
Yeah, I have a bunch of shirts like this, different colors. I switch those up. I would switch outfits up from time to time. Sometimes I would just do some wild angles, camera angles way up high. Yeah. I would think definitely about the variety of the content that I was talking about. So not just all, like, my channels get handles, but I mix in, some passing, some layups, some shooting, just topics that are different as far as like, okay, this video is a drill video. This video is a ball handling video. Or I should say a move video, and then this video is more of a tips video. So I have 3 formats that I can kind of rely on for each of those categories of passing, shooting, etc. So that was one thing I definitely kept in mind. I'd say that was the main things as far as trying to keep the variety there.
Now, awesome. And I love this whole research period and pumping out more video ideas, and then really just focusing on one place, simplifying the process, but getting, the help of someone, maybe not a professional, right? Like a camera person, but just anybody that's going to assist you. But it wasn't complex. Then you've got all this content, and any content creator knows, even from one video, you can kind of be overwhelmed with this mass amounts of content. My first question is, how did you tackle that? And my second kind of fun question I want you to answer first is, how many gigs of video did you have? I imagine it's like extra hard drives, maybe like your laptop was completely full. What was the editing process like afterwards?
So actually, that's the one thing I don't have done on everything yet. I basically, right now I'm ahead. I've got videos private ready to go for about another, at this point yet, still like probably 15 weeks. Wow. So I still got a lot of editing to do yet, but I did get a lot edited before we moved down. And then once we moved down, I got a lot edited too, as I was still trying to figure out the gym situation. But yeah, that's definitely one of the more difficult things to try to compress the time, because editing is just very, very, time consuming. Yeah. And the thumbnails, of course.
For sure. And that all makes sense, obviously. That's the thing, like getting the content recorded is so important. But, one mistake I know a lot of people make is maybe they forgot to record something, or they didn't get the right shot and they're in the editing process. Like, oh, dang it. So it seems that you've been very successful at creating all this content at once and then editing it as time goes on. You had enough for a whole year. You extended it by lowering your upload rate. But let's get into some practical tips. What would be your advice for people that might want to do this, whether they're also a sport channel or they're a tutorial channel for information or even entertainment? What are things that you learned that you would suggest to other people to batch produce at the highest levels? Even if it's not for 30 days, maybe it's just for 3 days or 3 hours, right? For multiple videos. What would be the best takeaways you got from your experience that people should hear about?
Sure. For me, I think one of the biggest things was having certain processes and formats that I could rely on. And within that, you'll actually find there's a lot of creativity as far as, so like, first example, planning the videos. You know, I would be like, I'm going to set aside this time. And as you start to get into the process, you start coming up with more ideas. But also on top of that, just having like, okay, I would go to the gym, and the more I went to the gym, like this was before I started to bulk do videos, I realized that, hey, if I'm at the gym 2 hours, I can usually get about 6 videos done. So from that, I was able to kind of plan out, okay, so I need to spend this many hours at the gym so I can get this many videos done. And I would always keep tabs on the clock too. So I'd be like, okay, I'm on pace, I'm not on pace. I need to pick up the pace. So from there, I was making sure I was getting enough content out. And then the other big thing I would say is just having an idea as far as the format for your videos, right? I know I need to get my B-roll. I know I got to get my intro. I know I got to have call to action figured out for that video, whether it's to send them to another video or to my website or whatever. And then within that, you know, the structure for the main points I want to talk about in the video. For me, I just use bullet points. I know some people are a little more scripted. And I think a lot of those processes, just because I'd already been on YouTube for years, kind of happen subconsciously and naturally. And I'm like, I know I need to do this. But for someone that's a little bit newer, I would say maybe just say, okay, I got to get this, and this filmed for each video. And just having that idea ahead of time makes the batching process a lot easier. And even then, like you mentioned, I realized I forgot to film some stuff. So sometimes I would film some stuff in an outdoor court down here, or do a voiceover with an image or whatever.